Today our lecture is about randomized control study. Evaluating cause-effect relationships. Introduction. Randomized control study. A randomized control study is a scientific research design that is used to evaluate cause-effect relationships between independent and dependent variables. It is considered the gold standard in research methodology due to its ability to establish causal relationships. Purpose. The purpose of a randomized control study is to determine the effectiveness of a specific intervention or treatment by comparing it to a control group. By randomly assigning participants to either the intervention group or the control group, researchers can minimize bias and ensure that any observed differences between the groups are due to the intervention. What is the research question that the study aims to answer? The research question for this randomized control study is, does the use of a new medication lead to a reduction in symptoms for patients with a specific medical condition? Hypotheses. In this randomized control study, we will test the following hypotheses. Null hypothesis. There is no significant difference in the effectiveness of treatment A and treatment B. There is no significant difference in the mean scores of the control group and the experimental group. There is no relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable. Alternative hypothesis. Treatment A is more effective than treatment B in reducing symptoms. The experimental group will have significantly higher mean scores compared to the control group. There is a significant relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable. The study design involves randomly assigning participants to either the treatment group or the control group. Participants in the treatment group receive the intervention or treatment being studied, while participants in the control group do not receive the intervention and serve as a comparison group. Sampling method. Random sampling participants were randomly selected from the target population. This helps ensure that the sample is representative of the larger population. Inclusion criteria. Participants had to meet specific criteria to be eligible for the study. This helps ensure that the sample includes individuals who are relevant to the research question. Sample size. The sample size was determined based on statistical calculations to ensure sufficient power to detect meaningful effects. A larger sample size increases the generalizability of the findings. Recruitment. Participants were recruited through various methods, such as advertisements, referrals, and outreach. Efforts were made to ensure diversity and minimize selection bias. Informed consent. Participants provided informed consent before participating in the study. This ensures that participants are aware of the study's purpose, procedures, and potential risks. Data collection. In order to gather accurate and reliable data for the randomized control study, several data collection methods were employed. These methods allowed us to collect both quantitative and qualitative data, providing a comprehensive understanding of the study's variables and outcomes. Surveys. Online questionnaires were distributed to the study participants to collect quantitative data. The surveys consisted of multiple choice and open-ended questions, allowing participants to provide detailed responses. Interviews. In-depth interviews were conducted with a select group of participants to gather qualitative data. The interviews were semi-structured, allowing for flexibility in the conversation while still focusing on the study's objectives. Observations. Direct observations of the participants' behaviors and interactions were conducted in controlled and natural settings. The observations were recorded using a standardized observation protocol to ensure consistency and accuracy. Data logging devices were used to collect objective data on specific variables, such as heart rate or activity levels. These devices were worn by the participants throughout the study period and automatically recorded the relevant data. Statistical analysis. Descriptive statistics were used to summarize the characteristics of the collected data. Inferential statistics, such as t-tests and analysis of variance, ANOVA, were used to test the hypotheses and determine the significance of the results. Regression analysis was conducted to examine the relationships between variables and identify any potential confounding factors. Data visualization. Charts and graphs, including bar charts, line graphs, and scatter plots, were created to visually represent the data and identify any trends or patterns. Data visualization techniques, such as box plots and histograms, were used to assess the distribution and variability of the data. Significant findings. The treatment group showed a statistically significant improvement in mean score compared to the control group. The difference in mean scores between the two groups was 10 points, indicating the effectiveness of the treatment. Discussion. Implications of the study findings. The study findings have significant implications for the field and provide valuable insights into the effectiveness of the intervention. The results suggest that the intervention has a positive impact on the outcome measure, supporting the hypothesis and indicating the potential for wider implementation of similar interventions. Limitations of the study. Despite the promising findings, it is important to acknowledge the limitations of the study. The sample size was relatively small, which may limit the generalizability of the findings to a larger population. The study was conducted in a specific setting, and the results may not be applicable to other contexts. There may have been confounding variables or biases that influenced the results, which should be considered when interpreting the findings. Recommendations for further research. Building on the findings of this study, further research is needed to explore the long-term effects of the intervention. A larger-scale randomized control study with a more diverse sample would provide a stronger evidence base for the effectiveness of the intervention. Additionally, investigating potential moderators or mediators of the intervention's effects would help identify factors that may influence its success. In conclusion, the randomized control study has provided valuable insights into the effectiveness of the intervention being tested. The key findings of the study include: the intervention group showed a significant improvement in the target outcome compared to the control group. The effect size of the intervention was found to be substantial, indicating a strong impact on the outcome. The results were consistent across different demographic groups, suggesting that the intervention is effective for a wide range of individuals. Thanks. You can find the link below in the description to download a free copy of the presentation. The link takes you directly to Google Drive. Please like, subscribe and write a comment. Please don't sell the presentation or upload the file to another websites because it's copyrighted. So what is the next video? Write down in the comments section the topic of the presentation and the number of slides. See you in the next video, presentations upon your request.